Welcome to Socials with the Saints. Are you looking for hope and inspiration? Grab a cup of tea or your favorite beverage and spend some time with us as we meet role models throughout church history and discuss how they can help us in our daily pilgrimage of life.
Hello, and thank you for joining us. Welcome to Socials with the Saints. Our mission is to inspire you in your daily pilgrimage of life by introducing you to the communion of saints. I'm Angela Ciolana, Media Coordinator for Pilgrim Center of Hope, and our mission as a Catholic ministry founded in 1993 is helping you walk your journey of daily life in hope with Christ and the Church. Socials with the Saints are opportunities to learn from role models of faith and from one another for fellowship, prayer, and receiving spiritual tools. Today, we'll be shining a light on the Mother Teresa of Brazil, as she's been called, Saint Dulce Pontes. We're recording this podcast as a resource for those of you who could not attend our in-person Social with the Saints gathering. You're most welcome to join us on the third Thursday of every month in San Antonio, Texas. Visit pilgrimcenterofhope.org for more information about our in-person Social with the Saints gatherings. So, have you ever heard of Saint Dulce Pontes? Let's discover her story. She was born May 26, 1914, and died March 13th, 1992. Her feast day is August the 13th. She is a patron saint of Bahia, Brazil, healthcare workers, hospital administrators, and social workers. Baptized Maria Rita de Sousa Brito Lopes Pontes, she was born in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil, into a devout Catholic family. Maria was the second daughter and second of 5 children of Augusto Lopes Pontes and Dulce Maria de Sousa. She was a joyful, active child who enjoyed soccer and kite flying. Augusto was a dentist and a professor, well known and remembered for his devotion to the Catholic faith and his dedication to the poor. When Maria was 13 years old, her aunt Madalena took her to visit a poor neighborhood in Salvador. This experience inspired the young Maria. She flung open the doors of her family's house and turned it into a refuge for people who were poor, needy, and sick. She even gave haircuts for free. Determined not to turn anyone away, she begged her neighbors and relatives to help supply what was needed. Maria's family offered their support and encouragement to care for the sick. Because of her work, her family home became known as the San Francisco Gatehouse. At just 13 years old, she told her father that she wanted to work to help the poor. Like Saint Teresa of Lisieux, to whom Maria had a devotion, she believed tiny acts of love were the way to spread the love of Christ. Feeling a strong calling to religious life, she said she was ready to perform the small acts of love that Jesus transforms into great works. While attending a school for teachers in Salvador de Bahia, she made the acquaintance of a Franciscan tertiary and later met the provincial superior of the Missionaries of the Immaculate Conception. After graduating with the teaching qualification, February 8, 1933, Maria left for the Brazilian municipality of São Cristóvão, or St. Christopher, and the neighboring state of Sergipe, in order to begin her new life with the Missionary Sisters of the Immaculate Conception of the Mother of God, a Franciscan order. When she made her vows, Maria took the name Dulce in honor of her mother, who had died when Maria was only 7 years old. Returning to the city of Salvador for 3 months as a volunteer nurse, she took a course in applied medicine. Sister Dulce's care and dedication to serving the sick and poor was unyielding. In 1935, she founded the first Christian workers' movement of Salvador, the St. Francis Labor Union, as well as the Labor Society of Bahia in 1937. The next year, she began working with the poor communities of Alagados and Itapajipe. Those she ministered to began calling her the Angel of Alagados. In 1939, she opened the School of St. Anthony, a public school for working-class people, and their children in the Masaranduba quarter of Salvador. In the same year, she began to house the sick in abandoned houses in a rundown area of Salvador called Isla dos Ratos, or Rats Island district. She would go in search of food, medicine, and medical care. It is said that she used to play the accordion in the streets, busking and raising whatever money she could to use for the convent's mission of caring for the poor. Later, when she and her patients were evicted from the neighborhood, she started housing them in an old fish market. But City Hall denied her the use of the space and told her to leave. In 1949, after a series of evictions and facing the big problem of taking care of over 70 people, Sister Dulce turned to the Mother Superior of her convent and asked her permission to use the convent's chicken yard as an improvised hostel. Sister Dulce's superior said that she could use the hen house or chicken coop turned shelter attached to the convent on condition that she take care of the chickens. She did, by feeding them to her sick patients. On February 8, 1983, that chicken coop became the present-day Santo Antonio Hospital, a 1,500-bed healthcare center specializing in cancer treatment, which the people of Bahia considered another miracle of Irma Dulce. The hospital was established on the principle of treating the whole person and not just the body, and stressed the importance of laughter to help patients recover. Sister Dulce founded Charitable Works Foundation of Sister Dulce, or OSID, as is the Brazilian acronym, in 1959, with statutes drawn up by her father, Augusto. This foundation is one of the foremost charitable healthcare organizations in the entire country, specializing not only in healthcare, but also in education and scientific research. Performing more than 5.6 million outpatient procedures per year and serving 1.2 million meals per year to patients, it is open to a broad range of people in need, including the elderly, homeless, children and adolescents considered at risk, victims of addiction, and people with disabilities and deformities. In July of 1979, Cardinal Avelar Brandão Vilela, Archbishop of Salvador, invited Mother Teresa of Calcutta to open a house in Alagados. Sister Dulce took this opportunity to meet her. In 1980, Sister Dulce's work impressed the Bishop of Brazil, José Sarney, who in 1988 nominated her for the Nobel Peace Prize with the support of the Queen of Sweden. In 1988, she was awarded the prize Educator of the Year by the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO. She had the opportunity to meet with Mother Teresa once and Pope John Paul II twice, the second time as she lay in the hospital not long before her death. During the last 30 years of her life, Sister Dulce's lungs were highly impaired. She had only 30% breathing capacity. Despite facing many challenges of health, she continued to attend daily Mass, often carrying her oxygen tank with her. This faithful devotion exhibits the Catholic teaching of the real presence, the belief in Jesus Christ's presence in the Eucharist. In 1990, her respiratory problems began to worsen and she was hospitalized. In October of 1991, Pope John Paul II came to Salvador and wanted to visit Sister Dulce. Cardinal Lucas Moreira Neves recalled that the Holy Father said many times, "This is the suffering of an innocent, just like the suffering of Jesus." She approached all her suffering by giving herself to the Lord's embrace. After being hospitalized for 16 months at the age of 77, Sister Dulce passed away of respiratory failure and cardiopulmonary arrest on March 13, 1992, in Santo Antonio Convent in Salvador, Bahia, Brazil. Her body was carried on a fire truck with an honor guard of cadets from the military police for a procession of 6 kilometers. To this day, she remains known to all as the Mother of the Poor and the Good Angel of Bahia. She was buried in the Basilica of Nossa Senhora da Conceição, Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, da Bahia. In 2001, her body was moved to the Church of the Convent of St. Anthony, next to her charitable foundation. And on June 9th, 2010, the conclusion of canonical recognition of her mortal remains was celebrated, her body being moved into a tomb in the new Church of the Immaculate Conception of the Mother of God in Salvador. It was discovered that her body was naturally incorrupt, and even her clothes were still preserved 18 years after her death. The legacy of Sister Dulce, known as the Good Angel of Brazil, remains alive in the institutions she founded, especially and specifically the Sister Dulce social works. The most notable of these is the Charitable Works Foundation of Sister Dulce, which is today one of Brazil's largest and most respected philanthropic organizations, continuing her work of providing healthcare, education, and social services to the underserved populations of Brazil. It is a private charity chartered under Brazilian law and serves over 3 million people annually. Though physically petite, Irmã Dulce had strength that derived from her faith and love for God's children. Her legacy is one of tireless dedication, charity, and unyielding faith. Irmã Dulce's impact extended beyond healthcare. She created a social work school and opened a public library to cater to those less privileged. Her life was a testament to the power of kindness, proving that small acts can spark significant changes. She's the first Brazilian female saint. She said, "If there were more love, the world would be different. If we loved more, there would be less war. It all comes down to this: do your best for your brother, and therefore there will be peace on earth." Wow, what a story. Here are a few questions for you to ponder. What struck you about what you just heard, and what stood out to you in her story? How does the life of this saint teach and challenge you in your spiritual life? And what lesson will you take with you from this saint into your daily life? We invite you to leave a comment on the YouTube post that corresponds to this episode or the podcast app that you listen to this episode on, or simply send us an email, ministry@pilgrimcenterofhope.org. We look forward to hearing what you have to say, and if you learned for the first time about this saint, Saint Irmã Dulce. You can also download a printable pamphlet with this story, as well as a card with a quote from our saint, on our website, pilgrimcenterofhope.org. The link will be included in the podcast description. Saint Dulce Pontes, pray for us. A big thanks to our sponsor, Velma Burnett, for making this podcast possible. Thank you for joining us on Socials with the Saints. We invite you to come visit Pilgrim Center of Hope and learn more about our threefold ministry of events, media, and pilgrimage journeys. Visit pilgrimcenterofhope.org. That's pilgrimcenterofhope.org, or call us 210-521-3377. That's 210-521-3377. Please make sure to stay up to date with details about these wonderful events. You can do so by liking our Pilgrim Center of Hope Facebook page, following us on Instagram, and subscribe to our email list by visiting pilgrimcenterofhope.org. Until next time, remember, we're a pilgrim people, and on your journey, you're never alone in the communion of saints. May God bless you.